Halloween is coming up. And, I'm trying to psych myself up and the listeners up for Halloween.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure I've got something.
Okay, we'll be back in about 3 minutes. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio with Tobias Wayland, James Crispin. Kirschbaum, I'm sorry there, man. I blew it. Go eat some sugar frosted flakes. And myself, Gary, on Night Dreams Talk Radio.
Eons ago, when eagles were born, the Godhead let us reign free. We were on the run and the continuum, making choices in a cosmic spree. To exalt the self or enrich the whole, a thought process that endures today. A conundrum under a naked sun of what to think or when to pray.
You may know us as the Watchers, and we're watching over you. You may find the game is ancient, you might think the game is new. We come from different realms, and we are not all the same. You may know us as the Watchers, but we have our own end game.
Some came with high vibrations to straighten out a mess. Some came for domination in a cosmic game of chess. The final chapter's being written and the dice are being tossed. The game will come unbidden when the game is won or lost.
You may know us as the Watchers, and we're watching over you. You may find the game is ancient, you might think the game is new. We come from different realms, and we are not all the same. You may know us as the Watchers, but we have our own end game.
You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark with our host, Gary Anderson.
Hey, that is me. We got Tobias Wayland out here. We have James Kirschbaum. I'm sorry. How long have I known you, James, that I just totally blew your last name? And how many times do I say it? I apologize.
That's all right there, Gary.
That's okay, Tim. That's no problem. May one of these things of Halloween come and give you a nightmare.
You know what? I'm going to call Mrs. Gary and help her out.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm telling you, this weekend is going to be long.
You better sleep with one eye open, mister.
Yeah, I don't know. You never know. I better be careful if I take a bath. You might throw an electric hair dryer right in the bathtub when I'm in it.
Yeah, you better be.
Yeah, Tobias. So anyway, do you get a lot of trick-or-treaters where you're at?
No, we are near downtown in Madison, Wisconsin, and so we have some families over here, but there aren't that many. It's mostly like younger professionals, grad students. Just not a big family neighborhood. And the families that do live here, I swear, they just travel, like a short distance, probably like you can go like a mile in any direction and get better, trick-or-treating than you're ever going to get where I live. So I don't think we've had a trick-or-treater in, oh boy, it's probably been 4 or 5 years, I bet. I mean, I always get candy. At this point, like we'll buy some candy, but what I'll actually do is I try to stock up on stuff that won't go bad. So if you go to like Target or someplace similar, they usually have in like the discount bins, you can get like little toys, so like little monster finger puppets and stuff like that. And so I'll stock up on those because I'm like, well, I don't need to eat a whole bag of candy, like split between just like me and Emily every year. And like if I get these little toys, like they'll never go bad. And if we ever get trick or treaters, like I don't want to be the guy handing out toothbrushes or something. But yeah, like if I hand out toys, if it ever comes up, like kids will at least enjoy those. Maybe it's not candy, but it's still kind of cool. So
I remember, when you mentioned the toothbrush, I remember when I was like 8 or 9 years old, one of the neighbors was giving people bars of soap.
Oh, wow.
And I tell you, that was a big letdown. And then one year, that same neighbor gave, Walt Disney had some real good bubble bath, toys, full of bubble bath, like Donald Duck figures and all the rest of them, right? Well, he was giving out figures from his kids, but the problem is that the bubble bath stuff was all used up. They just gave out the empty containers. Here's the empty container, Donald Duck. Happy Halloween.
Just giving you his literal garbage.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's disappointing. So I assume this guy's house got egged like every year.
It got toilet papered a few times. I can tell you that. I remember that. I didn't have anything to do with it. Seriously.
I bet.
I'm sure the statute of limitations is up on that regardless. But,
okay, I was one of about 15 kids one time in grade school. We toilet papered his house because, the guy, he had a nice boat. He had an RV at the time. And then you go over there and he had a couple kids. You go over there for Halloween. He expected you to give his kids candy, but he never gave out any candy. He gave out junk. I mean, who wants a bar? And it wasn't a real bar of soap. It was those soaps you get like when you're in a hotel.
So much worse.
Yeah, like you use it once or twice and it's gone. That's the type of stuff he would give.
Well, there's them people too, like on Medea there, where they put their hand in to give you a piece of candy corn. They pull out a handful of your candy and put it back in theirs. There's those out there too.
I don't know. When we lived in Tacoma, one area, it was really nice. Because I had 8 kids, and they were all out going trick-or-treating, coming back with these pillowcases full of candy. But there was one neighbor, it would give a bag of candy. Like the bag, you'd break it down to, like, you get one piece here, this kid gets one piece. They would give out the whole big bag to every kid that came in.
Wow.
Yeah,
that helped a couple times.
Yeah, well, that's what my kids would do. They would, wait about a half an hour, and they would tell me they would go back and hit the guy's house. Every year that guy would do it, and they would, how many other kids? There probably was only 10 kids that ever went to the guy's house, but he probably thought he had 100 because they were going back just to get, a bag of candy. This is cool.
Yeah, it is. That's great.
Yeah. Well, Tobias, here's some scary reports. I mean, Halloween's coming up.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. So, I can start off with another one of my personal ones here. Actually, this was some years ago. Actually, would have been just after the story that I told you guys before about the shadow being. So now this again was when I was staying with my parents, and the thing about them was if I was going to come home late, like they refused to sleep with their bedroom door closed. They just didn't like it. And so if you got home after like 10 p.m., well, really, if you got home after like 9:30, like you wanted to be real quiet, of course, but you didn't want to turn lights on because it didn't matter where you were in the entire house. And there's 3 floors to this house. Like they would say that they could see the light coming into their bedroom and they would wake them up. So, you were basically walking, like just feeling your way around in the dark, after like sundown until you could get into a room, you could close the door, and then you could turn the light on. And so now they had kind of an open floor plan from their kitchen to the dining room to their living room, and then there were stairs that would go upstairs. And my bedroom was at the very top of those stairs. And so I had come home one night, and I was going to grab something to eat. And so I grabbed something out of the kitchen, and I was going to go from the kitchen into the dining room, and I had to do it with all of the lights off, because if I had the light on, of course it would wake them up, and they'd be like, why are all these lights on? And so I turn the light off in the kitchen as I'm looking at the dining room, and I know where everything is in there. I've done this 100 times. I know where to step on the floor to make sure none of the floorboards creak, because it's all nice hardwood floors. And so I'm crossing from the door from the kitchen to the door on the other side of the dining room, because I'm going to go upstairs and go into my room. And so you know how when you're in the dark, even if you can't really see anything, like you can feel when something's close to you, like you can feel when you're going to run into something. I'm about 3/4 of the way across this room, and I can feel, I know where everything's supposed to be. So I shouldn't have had that sort of imminent sense like I'm about to run into something, but I felt that very suddenly, like I'm about to bump into something in the dark here. And so I stop for a second, and at that point I hear this hiss, and it's next to my face, and I can feel this breath, or it was air for sure, but I assumed it was breath because of this hiss on my face, and I freeze up immediately, and I just stand there, and I don't think I can say on the air what I actually said, but it was basically something like, freak you, just leave me alone, and then I just take off up the stairs and go and go into my room, and whatever it was, it didn't follow me up there, because I didn't experience anything else that night. But just that experience of not being able to see anything, and having something appear out of the darkness so suddenly, and so close to me, where I could feel this breath as it hissed in my face. That was disconcerting, to say the absolute least.
Yeah, it was. I bet. Jeez.
Yeah.
That was scary.
And right, and it's one of those things where, at this point, and I'm sure I've said this before, and this is by no means trying to brag or anything else, but the simple reality is, because of stuff like that, people ask if I get scared when we're doing paranormal investigations and stuff, and I don't. I just don't. It's none of it scary anymore. I get startled. So when in that instance that I just described there, even there, I was pretty briefly scared, but more than anything, it's just that instant nervous response that you can't control it. It's like blinking. When you get startled, that'll still happen to me, but all of the rest of it.
Well, Tobias, when you're sleeping at night, don't you have scary dreams or anything where you get scared? You hear all these stories all the time. I'll be honest with you. I have nightmares once in a while, because I'll have a guest on that it has a real creepy or scary story, and then I'll go to bed at night, and and after watching the Three Stooges, and I try to go sleep, and then all of a sudden I have a nightmare about it.
Sure. I don't know if there's just something wrong with me, but I swear I really don't. Although now that you're